Hey, good morning. So, gusto naman kayo. Kapag bakasyon tayo ng at least 1 week. So, good morning. So, yung topic natin is about yung pangatlong type ng probability distribution, which is yung chi-square. Okay. So, yung chi-square is discovered by Frederick. Si Frederick search ko lang invento ng chi-square. Si Frederick Helmert. So, siya yung nag-discover ng chi-square. So, yung chi-square, it is a symbol used for chi-square random variable is the compound symbol, yung parang x. Pero yung x na yan, Greek letter yan, which means chi. So, kaya chi-square. So, the exponent should not be confused with the squaring function. So, wag daw tayo ma-confuse na pag sinabi natin chi-square, it should multiply by itself. So, yung chi-square mismo, yung x squared na yan, is a symbol. Hindi yan function na kailangan mo i-square. So, if chi-square is a random variable with the chi-square distribution, so yung chi-square is a positive real number. Remember yung discussion natin about posan na positive discrete number naman siya. Ito naman is a positive real number ang requirement. So the density function of chi-square for chi-square depends on only one parameter. Yung nu, Greek letter nu, na tinatawag natin degrees of freedom. So dun sa posan, meron tayong degrees of freedom, meron din tayong degrees of freedom. And it follows kung paano natin kinukuha yung degrees of freedom. So for the number of category, -1 lang. So the expected value of chi-square is equal to the degrees of freedom that is nu. So kung ano yung value ng degrees of freedom mo, yun yung expected value mo. The variance of the chi-square is 2 times the degrees of freedom. So kung kukunin mo naman yung variance, that is only twice of the degrees of freedom. The maximum graph of the function chi-square is at chi-square is equals to b minus 2 if yung degrees of freedom natin is greater than 2. And the graph of the function of chi-square is not symmetrical but approaches symmetry as the degrees of freedom increase. So kapag habang nag-i-increase daw yung degrees of freedom natin, nagiging symmetrical siya. But yung sa kabuuan, ang mga functional graph natin is not always symmetrical. So just like this one, ang flow ng kanyang graph is something like that. So habang tumataas yung degrees of freedom natin, it approaches symmetry. So for this example, if chi-square has a chi-square distribution with a 4 degrees of freedom, then a vertical line at the chi-square 0.484 divides the chi-square distribution. so that yung ating significance level na 97.5% of the area under the curve is to the right of 0.484. And that is 1 minus the significance levels equals to 0.025 of the area is to the left. So we can write that the chi-square, so pwede na daw natin isulat na yung chi-square natin is that is point, yung subscript niya is 0.975 and degrees of freedom of 4. So equal daw yan sa 0.484. Saan nakuha yan? Kasi ito ay 1, ito ay below 4. So yung 25% or yung 2.5% of that curve, etong value na to, is fall under 0.484. So kung kukunin mo halimbawa yung siguro yung mga 50% na sa mga ng area, mga 4 something. So the probability that a chi-square random variable with 4 degrees of freedom has a greater value than 0.484 is equals to 0.975. So yan, yung eto tumaas na yung degrees of freedom niya. So habang tumataas, nagiging symmetrical siya. So symmetrical na to. If chi-square is a chi-square random variable with 15 degrees of freedom, then 5% naman of the area is to the right of the vertical line is chi-square 24.996. So dito nakuha yun. So almost equal na siya sa 25. And the 95% of the area to the left of the line is also 24.996. So i-locate mo naman ano yung value ng 95% to the left, that is also 24.996. So this distribution has a mean of 15 kasi yun yung ating degrees of freedom, and yung variance niya is twice. That is 30. So remember yung guidelines natin for chi-square that twice of the expected value or the degrees of freedom is the variance. And the graph has a maximum at 13. So maximum niya daw is at 13. Ibig sabihin, yung 50% niya is falls right under here. So 13. Okay? Now, ano ba yung ginagawa ng chi-square? So, chi-square is also used for identifying yung sa mga ating statistical analysis. Like yung, di ba, yung last time, ginamit natin yung binomial as for determining or concluding a problem as well as yung posan. So, pwede din siyang gamitin yung chi-square for doing statistical analysis. So a multinomial experiment is a generalization of the binomial experiment. So a multinomial experiment is an experiment in which there are k possible outcomes and the probability of the ith outcome is pi I with the summation of I is equals to 1, pi I is equals to 1. So yung ganun pa rin yung result. Yung kapag inad mo yung mga outcomes niya, always equal to 1. So the experiment is repeated n times that there are n trials. So the pi i's are constant from trial to trial. So the trials are independent and we are interested in the observation part or yung observation niya, kung ano yung naging resulta, the number of times the ith outcomes occurs. So note that the binomial experiment is a multinomial experiment. with pi 1 is equals to pi 2 is equals to 1 minus pi, in which pi is the probability of success on a single trial. So yung observation natin is equals to y, o y is equals to y, O2, it follows n minus y, in which y is the number of successes in the n trials. So like the binomial distribution, the expected number of occurrence of the outcome is n pi I. So let's try this problem into an example. So if a Palomino horse are bred to other Palomino, so yung Palomino horses is ito yung parang type of breed na ginagawa na ano siya, parang combination siya ng two colors. So they produce progeny in the ratio of one dark color called to two Palominos to one light color. So nakita niyo yung ratio niya, one dark color, dalawang Palomino and one light color. So an experiment involving a random sample of 96 folds of Palominos would be falls under multinomial experiment. So ano yan? So meron tayong tatlong outcomes dito, yung dark, Palomino, and the light. So if we try to get yung ating ratio from that three outcomes, we will assume that 1/4 kasi 1:2:1. So 1/4, and then yung Palomino natin would be 1/2 kasi twice yung kanyang part. And then yung light is 1/4 again kasi hinati lang natin from 1/2, yung natirang 1/2, dinivide natin sa 2 para maging tig 1/4 yung dark and light. Remember that the sum must be equal to 1. So 1/4 plus 1/2 plus 1/4 is equals to 1. The number of sample is 96 from the experiment. Sabi niya na 96 folds of Palominos are subjected to the experiment. And pi i's are constant from trial to trial. So since this is a random sample, the trials are independent. So we are interested in the number of folds of each type. So for multinomial experiment, ginagamit natin na formula for the chi-square is this one. So the summation of the observation minus the expected value squared over the expected value. So yun yung ginagamit natin na formula. Observation minus expected squared over expected. Now, if we try to do this on yung ating problem, or i-try na natin siya sa situational problem wherein you will try to do research regarding this breeding. So the geneticists mentioned above found that it's a random sample of 96 colts of Palominos. So there are 21 dark colored colts, 52 and 23. So yun daw yung naging parang result, yung nangyari, yung talagang actual na naging itsura ng mga kabayo. So meron ng 21, 52 and 23. Note that dapat yung sum nitong 21, 52 and 23 must be equal to 96. So tama ba? 96, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9. So 96. So he wants to check kung it falls under dun sa kanyang assumption kanina na 1/4 for dark, 1/2 for Palomino, and 1/4 for light colored horses are correct parameters for a probability model. So thus he decided to test. Ito na nga, ang kanyang null hypothesis is the assumption na meron ng 1/4, 1/2, and 1/4 na ratio. Thus, any of these three outcomes na not equal to the assigned outcomes will be the null hypothesis. So not equal lahat sila. So magkaroon lang ng inequality dun sa tatlong outcomes, we will reject. So you will check the null hypothesis if the experimental results are unusual when the null hypothesis is true. That is, if they occur by chance alone less than 0.05. So yung ating significance level is 0.05 of the time. So ito yung ating, from going back to dun sa ating formula kanina na summation of observed minus expected squared. So we will try to apply yung naging experiment natin. So sa observed, so we have 21, 52, and 23. So yun daw yung ating naging resulta. So 21, 52, and 23. Yung expected natin na value, ito yung kanina na yung expected value natin is based from the null hypothesis. So ano yun? So n in 96 multiplied by 1/4. So that is 96 multiplied by 1/4. Same with dito, 96 times 1/2. And ito is 96 multiplied by 1/4. Ang sagot dito?
24.
So 96 is 24, 48, and 24. Tama ba? 12, 16, carry 1, 3, 7, 9. Tama. Tapos, then, from that, observed minus expected, minus natin itong 21 minus 24. So that is negative 3. This one is 52 minus 48. That is
4.
Positive 4. And this one is negative 1. Now, after nun, i-square na natin yung value. So that is 9, 16, and 1. Then, yung 9, base dito, yung 9, i-divide natin ng expected value, which is 24. So, 9 over expected eh. So, 24. So, ano yung sagot?
$0.375.
0.375. How about dito? Sorry, mali. How about yung isa? Hindi na sa pangalawa.
2.33.
2 point, ano?
0.33.
0.33 and in that 1 over 24.
0.04 po.
0.04. Then we have to add this 3 kasi summation yan. Summation nito. So i-add natin siya. So that is 5, 10, 14, carry 1, 4, 7. So 0.745. Now, ano yung lumabas na to na chi-square natin? Anong purpose nito? Parang doon sa mga previous discussion natin on how we do our conclusion that the expected value or yung ating resultant, yung ating lumabas na chi-square resultant must be greater than the yung nasa table natin, chi-square distribution table, na kapag mas malaki siya, we should reject the null hypothesis. So by the way, wala pala tong table. Kaya nahanap ko lang yung table. Okay, so ito yung ating table. Yan yung ating table for chi-square. So ano yung gagamitin natin na value? So meron dyan 995, 990, 975, 0.95, and 0.05. So anong gagamitin natin value? Remember yung ating x squared, dapat yung subscript niya is yung kanyang significance level, 0.05, and the degrees of freedom. Ano yung degrees of freedom natin for that example? Ano yung degrees of freedom? Na-discuss na natin yung degrees of freedom before. Ano yung degrees of freedom natin this time? Ilan yung outcomes natin? Ilan ang outcomes dun sa ating problem kanina? You have the dark, the palomino, and the light-colored courses. So, ilan ang outcome? Ilan ang outcome natin? Ilan ang outcome?
Tatlo, sir.
Yes, 3. So, we have 3 outcomes. Therefore, ilan ang ating degrees of freedom? yung degrees of freedom natin or yung no is 3 minus
2 po.
minus 1
Minus 1.
or equal to 2. So, alin siya dyan? So, chi-square, 0.05, 2. Alin na titignan natin? Itong 0.05 and then this one, 2. So, which leads us to 5.991. So, yung chi-square na 0.05, 2 is 5. Located at 5.991. So, we will reject the null hypothesis if yung resultant natin doon sa ating ginawa kanina na summation is greater than this one, yung 5.991. So, anong ating conclusion? Malaki ba yung resultant natin kanina? Zero. Ano yun? 0.37. 0.375 ba yun? Tama ba? So, if 0.375, tama ba? Tama ba yung ano ko?
745 po.
745. So, yung 0.3745 is less than 5.
Ay, sorry po, sir. 0.745 po.
0.7.
4, 5.
0.745. Okay. So if ang naging resultant natin from that result is 0.745, which is coming from the computation, and from the table it is 5.991. So we therefore conclude that reject or accept the null hypothesis.
Accept.
So we will accept the null hypothesis. Therefore, there is no substantial evidence that mali itong kanyang assumption na 1/4, 1/2, 1/4. So, it concluded that tama itong kanyang ginamit na assumption. So, yung 1/4, 1/2, and 1/4. So, tama lang na ang kanyang ratio is 24/48/24. Okay? Now, for us to make a conclusion, now we go here with the procedure of multinomial chi-square test. So we have yung ating mga null hypothesis. Any inequality will result into alternative hypothesis. The significance level, alpha, and then binibigay naman to. If not, that is 0.05. Ating default. Walang binigay, that is 0.05. Test statistics is chi-square summation of the observed minus the expected squared over the expected. Then, observed numbers of outcome in the ith category. Yung expected can be computed by multiplying the total number of sample multiplied by the assumption, yung pi natin, with n is equals to the summation of the observed value. So yung region of rejection, if yung ating resultant doon sa ating ginawang experiment is greater than or equal to the table value, yung sa chi-square distribution table, then we will reject the null hypothesis. Malinaw ba yan? May question ba kayo dito sa multinomial experiment? Meron ba kayong question? Okay, if none, then we will proceed with the goodness of fit test. Yung goodness of fit test, it can be used to determine if the outcomes from a multinomial experiment fit a distribution with the specified proportion of responses in the categories. A similar procedure can be used to determine whether a response variable for some population can be modeled by some other probability distribution. For the case in which the parameter of the probability distribution are known, the test is very similar to the multinomial chi-square test. If the parameters are known and must be estimated, an adjustment in the degrees of freedom is necessary. Ano ba tong goodness of fit na to? So remember yung ating mga probability distribution na discuss, the binomial, the Poisson, chi-square. This test is used to determine ano yung appropriate na probability distribution na gagamitin mo. Like kung hindi ka masyadong pamilyar kung sa mga statistics na gagamitin, then you could try to do this goodness of test. This will probably prove na yung gagamitin mong experimental design or the probability test is appropriate for your experiment. So yun yung ginagamit, goodness of fit. So if pumasa siya sa goodness of fit test, then we can conclude that the statistical analysis that you use is fit for your experiment. Now, ano ba yung goodness of fit test? So for example, this one, each day a salesperson calls on 5 prospective customers and she records whether or not the visit in a sale. For a period of 100 days, her record is as follows. So yun daw yung ating yung kanyang visit. So number of sales, yung na wala is 15 days. Yung merong isa, that is 21. Yung dalawa is 40, and then 3 is 14, 4 is 6, and 5 is 4. Now, ano tong problem na to? This problem falls under binomial distribution. So, dun sa baba, a marketing researcher feels that a calls in a result about 35% of the time, so that he wants to see if this sampling of the salesperson effort fits a theoretical binomial distribution. So gagamitin niya sa binomial distribution. And for us, we want to know if tama yung ginamit niya na binomial distribution. With 0.35 probability of success, 5 trials. So ibig sabihin niyan, that is why 5.35. So this binomial distribution has the following probabilities and lead to the following expected values for 100 days of record. So base dun sa ating binomial distribution table, sulat ko lang. So that is why 5.35. So sa binomial distribution table, if you try to look at the table, yung binomial distribution table natin, titignan natin yung mga values. Hinahanap ko lang yan kung papasok siya sa table. Okay. So, we have yung 0 sa binomial. So, that is n. N is 5. For 0, we have 5, 0, multiplied by 0.35 raised to 0, 0.65. Naalala niyo pa ba? Yung ating pi formula natin, this ny, pi, y, multiply by 1 minus pi n minus y. Ang sagot dito? That is 5 factorial over 0 factorial, 5 minus 0 factorial. So 5, so that is 1. 0.35 raised to 0 is 1. 0.65 raised to 5. Ano sagot dito? Ano sagot dito? $11.6, which is, ito na yan. So yung 1 is 0.3124. So let's solve for 2. So ito ay 5, 2, 0.35 raised to 0.65, 5 minus 2 is 3. So ito ay 5 factorial, 2 factorial, 5 minus 2 factorial. 0.35 raised to 2, 0.65 raised to 3. Ang sagot dito?
Zero point 1421 po.
0.1421. Tama?
Opo.
Okay, how about 3? How about 3? We have 3. So 5, 3. So that is 0.35 raised to 3, 0.65 raised to 2. So that's 5 factorial, 3 factorial, 5 minus 3 factorial. So ito ay 0.35 raised to 3, 0.65 raised to 2.
Sir, dun po sa 2, hindi po ba dapat 0.3364 siya?
Kolom. Ay, alin sa 2?
Opo.
Mali to. Hindi to 0.1421. Tama ba?
0.3364 po yung lumabas sa
0.33.
64.
Sige, yung sa ano, solve nyo na yung isa. Three, 3, 6, 4. Tama. Point 1811. Point 1811. And yung last, 5, 4, 0.35 raised to 5, 0.65 raised to 0. So that is 5 factorial, 4 factorial, 5 minus 4. Sorry, mali pala to. 4 and 1. So that is 0.35 raised to 4, 0.65 raised to 1. Ano to? $9.75. So that is ano ba talaga? 0.0488. Teka natin. Yes, 0.0488. And yung last, so that is 5, 5.35, 5.65, 0. So that is 5 factorial, 5 factorial, 5 minus 5 factorial. 0.35, 5.65, 0. Ang sagot dito?
Zero point 0053.
0.0053. Tama. 0.0053. Now, ano yung makikita nyo sa left? Sa right side? Yung expected value na if ever na merong 100 na na days. No, days. Tama. Ano yung kanyang magiging expected value? So, tinimes niya ng 100 lang yung probability natin na 11.1160 times 100, that's 11.60. And it follows true. So, that is 33.64, 18.11, 4.88, and 0.53. Okay, now that we get yung mga expected value, we will transfer it here sa kapumatong. Sa ating experimental goodness of fit test. So yung nakita natin mga result kanina, that is 4.88, sorry. 33.64, 18.11. Now, ano nangyari dun sa 4 and 5? Yung 4.88 natin tsaka 0.53 is pinagsama daw since hindi pa siya umabot ng 5 or ng 0.05 sa probability, i-add na lang natin to. Yung 4.88 tsaka 0.53, ano magiging sagot dito? 5.41. 5.41. So 5.41. Now, yung sa probability distribution natin na lumabas, ito yun, yung kanina 0.3364, 0.1811, and yung resultant ng pag-add ng probability ng 4 and 5 which is 0.00. Sorry, 541. Now, yung observe natin, ito yung galing dun sa table na kapag 0 yung customer, mabot siya ng 15 days. 15 days na walang customer. 21 days na merong isa. So, yun yung ating i-subtract.
Excuse po. Hindi po ba dapat 5.40 lang po yun pag pinag-add yung 4 or 5?
5.40
40 lang po.
Okay. 3 tsaka 8. Sige.
Sir, 8 po at saka 3 yung dulo po eh.
8 tsaka 3. Oo nga, 8 tsaka 3. 11. 5 point. Alilito. Check ko lang. Point 54. Tama. Yan. Okay na? Okay, now we will try to subtract this one. 15 minus 11.6. Ito yung atin observed minus expected. That is 3.40. 21 minus 31, that is 10.24 negative. 40 minus 33.64, that is 6.36 ba? Tama ba? 6.36. And then 14 minus 18.11, that is 4.11 pero negative. And this one, 10 minus 5.4 is 4.8. Now we get the square of the difference between observed.
4.6 po.
4.6 lang po.
We get the square. So 3.4 squared is 11.56. 10.24 is 104.8576. 6.36 is what? Squared.
Four 4.45 po. 40.45 po.
40.45. How about yung 4.11?
16.9 po.
16.9. And then 4.6.
21.16 po.
Now we get to divide we try to divide the square root of the difference by the expected value. So 11.56 divided by 11.6, that is 0.9966. 104.8576 divided by 31.24 is 3.3565. And 40.45 divided by 33.64 is what?
1.20.
1.2024 po.
0.24. Yan. Yan ba yan? Okay. And then 16.9 over 18.11.
0.9331 po. Ay, 9332.
0.9332. Okay. And then last,
3.9185 po.
3.9185. Ano yung total?
$10.4072.
10.40.
472. Opo.
$10.7. Two. Now, try to get kung yung 10.470 mas mataas or mas mababa value. So the chi-square, natin is 0.05. Ang ating degrees of freedom is what? Ilan ang ating degrees of freedom here? Ilan ang degrees of freedom? Ilan ang outcomes? Ilan ang outcomes natin?
5.
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 minus 1 is 4. Ano yung value ng chi-square na to na 0.05 and 4? Ako nagtitingin. 0.05 na 4 is 9.4. is 9.9.4 9.48. So, ano masasabi natin dyan? Do we have to reject the null hypothesis or accept? Reject or accept? Reject or accept? Mas malaki.
Reject.
Reject the null. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Reject the null hypothesis. Ibig sabihin, we have to reject that this problem, itong problem na to, is falls under binomial distribution. So, hindi siya pasok sa binomial distribution. Maybe, ibang probability distribution ang pwedeng gamitin to determine if this experiment is relevant or yung assumption niya ay tama. So for now, since ginamit natin is binomial distribution at nag-reject siya, ibig sabihin hindi pwedeng gamitin or hindi advisable gamitin ang binomial distribution. So that is the use of goodness of fit test. Question? Now we try another example. If the same typesetter sets all the copy for a book, the error rate should be approximately the same type throughout the book. With this assumption, the number of misprint per page may be Poisson random variable. So bakit niya nasabi? Kasi yung kanyang mga values is a discrete value. So pwede na ang kanyang distribution ay Poisson. To check whether the Poisson model is correct, an efficiency expert collects the following data from the random sample of 100 pages. So from there, sa table, makikita niya na yung walang mali is 13, ang kanya nakuha, na merong isang mali sa isang page is 24, may dalawa is 31, tatlo is 18, 4, 11, 5, 2, and 6, 1. Now, ang kanyang tinetest ngayon if this problem falls under Poisson distribution. Kapag hindi, that is not a sample from a Poisson distribution. So, paano ba natin kinukuha ang probability ng Poisson distribution ulit? Anong formula natin for Poisson distribution? Nahanap ko ba? Anong formula natin for Poisson distribution? E minus lambda multiplied by lambda y over y factorial. E E minus lambda y lambda raised to y. Lambda raised to y over y factorial. Okay. Now, ano yung ating ano dito? Lambda. Anong lambda natin dyan? Lambda is the expected value. So ano kaya yung magiging expected value natin dyan? Anong ating lambda? Ang expected value from the table, we have to get the mean para makuha natin yung lambda. And to get the mean, we have to add all the observed value. Ilan ba yung naging lahat na mistakes? So we have 13 multiplied by 0, 24 times 1, 31 times 2, 18 times 3, 4 times 11, and 2 times 5, and then 1 times 6. Ilan lahat to? Ito ay 0, ito ay 24, ito ay 62,
64.
ito ay
36 po. Ay, wait lang po, sir.
36 plus 18, 54. Okay, 24, 54. Ito ay 44. Ito ay 10. Ito ay 6. Ilan lahat ang mistakes sa libro? 8, 12, 16,
200.
200. So 200 ang mistakes divided by the number of pages. So we have 100 pages. So divided by 100, that is 2 mistakes ang ating average per pages. 2 yung ating average per page. So yan yung ating lambda o yung mean, yung expected natin na value per page. Okay? Now we go back again dun sa ating table. So check muna natin kung tama yung ating nakalagay dyan. for 0. So we have e raised to negative 2 multiplied by 2 raised to 0 over 0 factorial. Yan yan. Anong sagot yan? Sagot? What's the answer? Hello?
Tama po, sir.
0.1353. Okay, how about sa 2? So, papalitan lang natin ng 2 and then this one is 2 factorial.
Tama rin po.
Anong tama? 2 na yan.
Yung 0.270 po.
Tama. Doon na tayo sa 2.
Ay, sir, yung 1 po, mali. Kasi yung 0.2707 sa 2 po siya.
Pareha sila. Na 2707. Pa-check nga. 2707.
Ay, opo, sir.
2707. How about sa 3?
.1804.
1804. And then sa 4?
0.0902.
Okay. 0.0902. How about sa 5? .30361. Tama.
Opo.
.03. How about sa 6/6? Ibig sabihin ng over 6 is 6 pataas. So, i-add nyo lahat ng number na from 6 to from 6 to pataas. Ano yung kanyang resultant na probability? So that is 0.0165. Point check nyo na lang kung tama to Pero ito is from 6, 7, 8 hanggang infinity. May mag-dilute kasi yan to 0. So i-add nyo lang lahat nung ano, ang resultant daw niya is 0.0165. Okay? Now once you get the quotient, then ang ginawa naman niya dito is ito yung observed na value na mistakes, pinagsama-sama niya, and then itong 0.165 and then itong 0.361. So kung mapapansin nyo, dito ay 0.1353, 0.2707, 0.2707, 0.1804, 0.902. Itong 0.0526 over 4 na so. So yung 5 tsaka yung over 6 pinag-add lang natin. So 0.0361 plus 0.0165. So that is 0.0526 ang result. Okay, now that we have this table, check nga natin. Wala. So yung expected value natin is times 100, that is 13.53. Times 100 itong 2707, that is 27.07. 27.07, 18.04, 9.02, and 5.26. Now we get to know ano yung kanyang observed minus expected. So nagkulang na sa table. Pero gawin na lang natin. So yung observed minus expected natin is 13 minus 13.53 is 0.53. 27.07 minus 24 is 3.07. Ito naman is ilan to? 31 minus 27.07. Positive for 3.93. Ito ay negative 0.04. Ito ay 1.98. And then 3 minus that is negative 2.26. Yung kanyang square ilan nyo? 0.53 squared.
$0.2809.
0.2809. 3.07 squared.
9.4249.
9.4249.
4249.
Ito ay 3.93. 15 something ba ito?
15.4449.
0.04.
0.4449 po yun.
0.4449.
9.
Kunin ko na lang 5 ba. Okay, next. 0.04.
0.00616.
0.0016. 1.98. 3 point, ano to?
3.92004.
And then 2.26.
5.1076.
Sorry. 5 point.
1076.
Now we divide O minus E squared by the expected value. Ano yan? Anong value sa ano yan? 0.2809 divided by 13.53 yung expected value. Ito. Yan.
0.0207.
0.0207. Next, 9.4249 divided by 27.07. Makita yung chat eh.
Zero 0.3481.
Ulit.
3482 po.
0.3482.
3482.
Yung number 2, 15.445 divided by 27.07.
0.75706.
5706. Next. Ano yung next? Next. 3, ano yan? Sorry. Wala. Number 3, 0.0016 divided by 18.04.
0.0001.
Ilang zero?
Tatlo po.
Then yung 4, 3.920 divided by 9.02. 0.
0.4346 po.
4346. And then yung over 4, 5.1076 divided by 5.26.
0.97 na 10 po.
Okay, now yung total. Ano yung total? Paki-add. Ano sagot?
2.3452.
2.3452. Now, ano yung i-compare natin siya sa table? Anong value? That is chi-square 0.05. Ilan ang degrees of freedom niyan? Yung degrees of freedom, ilan?
Five po.
5. Kasi ito ay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 minus 1, ay 6 minus 1 is 5. So check ko lang sa table kung anong ano niya. Kita ko sa table 0.05 and then 5. So that is 16.75. Yun yung ating sa table. So sa problem, nawala. 2 point something yun, di ba? 2 point ano nga yan?
3452 po.
2.3452 16 point sa table ay 16.75. So, ito ay less than 16.75. Ano ang ating conclusion? Accept or reject?
Accept.
Accept null hypothesis. Meaning that this experiment or this problem falls under Poisson distribution. So, itong tamang kanyang probability distribution na gamitin. Poisson distribution. Okay, question sa goodness of fit? Test? Okay ba yung yung goodness of fit test? May question ba kayo dito? Now, mapapansin nyo kung paano siya sinasolve sa chi-square or sa kahit anong statistical analysis is paisa-isa. Diba mapapansin nyo, inaganyan, tinitable para makuha natin. Kasi dito, yung minimal yung error natin na magawa. Kasi step by step yung kanyang process. So, mas madali siyang makita yung naka-table kaysa yung mamanuhin mo siya na isi-solve mo siya directly. So, mas prone sa error. However, ang ano naman to, ang disadvantage naman ng paggamit ng table is nagkakaroon tayo ng estimation loss. Yun yung mga round off, yung mga nira-round off natin. Minsan nawawala yun. Which is sometimes sa mga problem is very significant. Halimbawa dito, 4 decimal places yung ginamit natin. Wherein kung gagamit tayo ng 2 decimal places, mas prone siya sa error kasi tumataas yung ating round off, nagkakaroon ng tumataas yung ating error. Now for procedure for chi-square goodness of fit test, so yung sample, sasabihin naman kung anong probability distribution yon, and then yun ay magiging null hypothesis mo. For example, yung kanina, it falls under Poisson distribution, so siya ay magiging null hypothesis. Contradicting to the null hypothesis is the alternative hypothesis. Kung Poisson ang ginamit mong null hypothesis, then yung alternative hypothesis mo will contradict that it is not a Poisson distribution. For example lang. Now, the next is find the significance level. If hindi binigay, 0.05. The test statistics is we follow the formula for chi-square. That is the summation of the observed minus the expected square over the expected value. And then, the region of rejection, if yung resultant natin ng chi-square is greater than or equal to the yung sa kanyang value sa table value ng chi-square, then we reject the null hypothesis. The degrees of freedom is k minus 1 minus r. Nangyayari lang to na minus r kapag merong other factors aside from dun sa binigay. Katulad yung kanina, bakit k minus 1 lang yon? Balik tayo. Bakit k minus 1 lang to? Kasi ito ay category lang ng mistakes. So, kung meron pang other external factor na nakaka-involve, then i-minus mo pa yun. For example, merong factors din yung not just the mistake but also yung text na ginamit, halimbawa sa sa papel, mali yung nagamit na text, then it is falls under another factor, then ima-minus 1 mo pa siya. So yun yung sinasabi lang dito na k minus 1 minus r. So also known as the number of in distribution A estimated from the sample. With goodness of fit test, we can determine whether a single sample comes from a population that has a certain probability model. Sometimes we want to know whether or not several samples all come from the sample at the same population. And perhaps we do not know the appropriate model for the population. A chi-square test of homogeneity can be used in this case. So sabi niya, sometimes we want to know whether or not several samples all come from the same population. And perhaps we do not even know the appropriate model for the population. So ito naman, if gumagamit tayo ng goodness of fit test, determine if we do apply the right probability distribution for the problem. Ito naman is we want to know the model of the population. So ang ginagamit natin dyan is contingency table analysis. So for example, a speech pathologist might want to know whether the proportion of male among stammerers and the proportion of males along lispers are the same. Her null and alternative hypothesis are, so ito is parang speech problem daw sa mga lalaki. Minsan yung I don't know kung sino yung dalawa, pero yung stammerers is yung utal, and then lispers yata is yung bulol. So her null and alternative hypothesis are yung pi s, the stammerers, is equal to the lispers. Any differences will falls under alternative hypothesis, in which yung pi s is the proportion of stammerers who are male and the pi l is the proportion of lispers who are male. Note that the values of pi s and pi l are not specified in the null hypothesis. The proportion for females could also be included in the null hypothesis, but this is unnecessary since there are only two classes, male and female, and the proportion must sum to 1. So ito daw yung ating observed versus expected. From the observed value, ang stammerer daw is 32 for the male. And then ang lisper is 28 for the male, 18 for female, and 22 for the female. So ang total daw is 100. So we want to know if we want to know the expected value from the stammerer and the lisper for both male and female. Now, how do we get the expected value? How do you get the expected value? Using the formula, ito na pala, OIJ, OIX, OXJ, OXX. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Yung OIX, ito yun. Yung OIX, and then the OXJ, OXJ, this one. Over the OXX yung total. Ito yung OXJ sorry. OXI kasi yan. So yan yung ating kukunin para makuha natin yung expected value for the contingency table. For example, this one. We want to find the value of this one. So it falls under dito na OIX, this one, and then this one, and the total. Kasi siya ay nanggaling dyan. So that is 50 So 50 multiplied by 60 over 100. Anong sagot dito?
3 po.
Ha?
3.
3 o 30?
30 po.
30 po.
30.
30. And then, this one, yung pangalawa. Ito ay galing dito naman. So that is 50 times 60 over 100. So parehas lang, 30. How about is a female? So expected value ng female, ito. Dito siya. So that is 50 times 60 over 100. Ito ay ilan? 50 times 60 over 100, that is 30. Ay, sorry, hindi pala. Ito ay etong part na to. Teka, burahin ko na. 18, galing siya dito sa summer. So that is 50 and 40. So 50 and 40, time over 100. Ang sagot?
20 po.
20. So kung papasin nyo, 20, 30 and 20 is 50. So dapat hindi siya lalampas dito kundi mali yung table mo. And then last is yung sa list. Ito yon. So that is 50 times 40 over 100. So that is 20 also. So yan. So mapapansin nyo kung may mali dun sa ginawa nyong table, kapag inad nyo 30 plus 30, dapat equal sa 60. 20 plus 20 is 40. Pag ganon, 20 plus 20, 30 plus 20 is 50 and 30 plus 20 is 50. Now you get the value of the table sa expected value. Now we proceed with the chi-square. I-under mo na siya ng chi-square distribution. So yung male stammer sa observation is 32, sa expected value is 30. So 32 minus 30 is plus 2. So squared is 4 and that is 0.133. How about dito sa female stammer? That is 18 minus 20, that is negative 2. Squared is 4. And 4 over 20 is what?
0.2.
0.2. How about yung male lisper? So 28 minus 30 is negative 2. Ito ay 4. So 4 over 30 is 0.1. Dito, ginaya ko lang dito. And then 22 minus 20 is positive 2. 4. 4 divided by 20 is 0.2. Anong total? Anong total? 6.
0.666.
0.666. Now, ito yung ating resultant ng value ng chi-square. Now, paano naman natin kukunin yung table value? So that is 0.05. Ano ang ating magiging degrees of freedom daw? In a chi-square test of homogeneity, the degrees of freedom are, yung nun natin is R minus 1, C minus 1, in which R is the number of rows and C is the number of columns. So dahil nga yan yung sinasabi ko kanina, na hindi lang basta magbibilang tayo ng value ng outcomes, then ma-minus 1 lang natin. We also consider other external factors. Since nakaka-apekto yung gender dun sa parehas na condition, now we subtract both of them. So yung outcomes natin for the gender is 1, 2. So that is the rows. 2 minus 1. And then yung condition. 1, 2, 2 minus 1. Ilan? Minus 1 is 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. Ino ngayon ang ating degrees of freedom. Naka-multiply yan ha. Ano ang ating degrees of freedom?
1.
1. So, ang chi-square natin is 0.05, 1. Ano yung value niya? 0.05 3841. So 38 for 1 yung kanyang result, which is 0.666 is less than 38 for 1. Anong conclusion natin? Reject or accept? Reject or accept? Anong sagot dito? Hello? Reject or accept? No. Reject or accept?
Accept.
Accept. Yes. Accept null hypothesis. Ano ba yung ating ano? Yan. Accept the null hypothesis na parehas lang ang proportion ng stammerers and lispers. Okay? Yes, medyo mahaba pala itong chi-square. Now, we go on for our next problem. Ano pa rin to? Contingency, ano pa rin analysis. But it is a chi-square test of homogeneity for a political scientist is interested in determining how important the promise of no tax increase is for voters of different political affiliation. Using voters registration list, she chooses random samples of 100 from each of the group, Democrats, Republicans, and Independents. And she asks the subjects to rate the very importance of no tax increase on a scale of 1 to 4. The results are as follows. So ito yung ating observation. So kunin natin yung expected value based on the null hypothesis that the members of the three parties agrees on the importance of no tax increase. However, yung alternate hypothesis natin is members of the three parties do not agree on the importance of no tax increase, yung lack of homogeneity. So we have 42, 26, 19, 13, 55, 21, 14. Naka-Likert siya. So, i-test natin yung expected natin na value. Yan. So, based sa ating expected value, ano ang ating magiging ano tong ating expected value for Democrats? Itong value na to. So, ito yan. So, observation.
45.
135 multiplied by 100 divided by 300. So, ilan yan?
45 po.
Ha? 40?
45.
45. How about yung pangalawa? Pangalawa yung sinasabi. Ito, sa 26.
25.67.
25.67. How about yung 3? 65 times 100.
18.33.
Ano na?
18.
18.33.
Next.
$11 po.
11. How about dito sa Republicans?
45 din po.
45. Ito ay 77. Parehas lang, no? 25.67. Ito ay 135. 45. So, yan yung ating table. Tingnan natin sa ating yan. So, 25, 18.3, and 11. So, solve natin yung chi-square niya. Okay, so 20, dinirect niya na 25.7, oh sorry, 26 minus 25.7 squared over 25.7. Ang sagot dito? Dito na tayo sa pangalawa.
0.066 po.
Ano? Ano na?
0.066.
0.066. Okay, pangalawa. 19 minus 18.3 squared over 18.3.
Wait, sir, parang mali po yung 0.066. Wait lang po. Sir, yung sa number 2 po, 0.112.
Papalitin.
Yung 0.066 po, dapat 0.112 po. Nakalimutan ko po i-squared.
Ito. Ito.
Tama po, sir.
Di ba po dapat may squared?
Oo, may
Kasi
square.
po, 1.3 squared po, divide 25.7 na po yung 0.066 po.
Ang sagot?
Ayun po, 0.066 po. Diretso na po kasi yun.
0.004 sa libro. Paki-check nga ano.
Yung 1.3, kasi po 26 minus 25 po, divide, 26 minus 25.7 po ay 1.3. Pag in-squared po ay 1.69. Pag dinivide po sa 25.7, 0.066 po. 0.066 po.
Wait lang. Sige, yung sumunod muna. Fine.
0.027 po yung sa 3.
0 point. Ano to tawag dito? Halito. 0.03 lang. 26 minus 25.7 is 0.3. 0.3 squared. Basta lumalabas dito is 0.004. Pakicheck na maigi to. Malayo kasi yung 0.066 eh. Ay 0.6. Ito ang sagot. Tama ba?
$0.035 po nakuha ko, sir.
0.0.
35.
Teka. Magkakaiba tayo ng sagot.
Round up na po, 0.04.
0.004 po, sir.
Yan, sir. Tama.
Okay, next. Ano tong 3? Ano yung 3?
0.027.
0.027.
0.027.
27.
How about sa 4?
0.363.
Okay, dito.
0.367. Ay, 4 po dapat, sir.
Ha? Ano yan?
6 po kasi yung kasunod ng 3.
D6.
Four.
Dapat.
4 po.
Ito.
Two point 222 po. 222.
Dito.
0.860.
0.6. Ito.
One 1.0103. Ay, 04.
1.104. Next.
1.0104.
1.1404. Tama ba?
1.01 po. 1.0104.
Okay. Ganyan. Alam mo ito, 1.0104. Okay, next.
0.09.
0.0.
0.09. 0.09.
1, sir.
Next.
1.089.
1 point.
089.
Next.
0.719.
0.
7194. Ay, 5.
715.
Dahil, sir, tama na po yan. 7195 po kasi.
Next.
0.748.
And last.
0.091.
091. Okay, ano yung total? Ang total?
7.4259.
7.4259. Tama ba? Tama? Okay. So, ilan ngayon ang ating degrees of freedom? Degrees of freedom natin is rows minus 1 multiplied by columns minus 1. Ilan ang ating rows?
3 po.
3. So, 3 minus 1. Ilan ang ating columns? 4.
4 po.
So, 2 times 3 is 6. So, sa chi-square table, ang titingnan natin ay 0.05 tsaka 6. 2 times 3, 6. Okay, tingnan mo sa table. Pag sa table, ayan ay... By the way, yung table, i-attach ko sa classroom. Para makita nyo. .05 is 12.592. 12.592. Now, ano ang ating conclusion? Accept or reject? Sa 7.4259 is less than 12.592. Ano ang ating conclusion?
Accept po.
Accept the null hypothesis. So, ibig sabihin, ang ating conclusion na members of the three parties agrees on the importance of no tax increase. Siyempre, parang kung sa totoong buhay, parang syempre, ano yan, mag-a-agree sila na dapat walang tax kasi nangangampanya sila. So, parang ganun lang. So, kung ano lang natin sa tunay na situation. Wala namang mangangako na na pangit. Okay. Ano tayo? Medyo madami kasing topic tong Carson. Medyo, ito na yata yung last. Ay, sorry. Please bear with me. Ito na yung last problem. Bisa na lang natin. Okay, next is yung kanina is chi-square test of homogeneity. Ito naman is chi-square test of independence. So football coaches feel that a football team has an advantage when it's playing a home game in its own stadium. The enthusiasm of the crowd, familiarity with the field, and the lack of fatigue from travel all seem to contribute to this assumed advantage. So yun daw yung parang advantage ng home court, yung cheer ng tao, familiarity sa lugar, and then yung wala yung pagod ng pag-travel papunta dun sa lugar. A coach want to test this theory at this school. If the theory is wrong, whether a game is won or lost independent, or whether the game is played at home or takeaway. The yung hypothesis natin is winning is independent of where the game is played, or winning depends on the game where the game is played. Depends on the where is played. So etong hypothesis natin contradicts dun sa gusto niya malaman na wala daw kinalaman ng lugar sa panalo. The coach examined the records at his school over the past 31 years, a single sample. He clarifies the result as follows. So, nanalo ng home, 97. Ang away is 69. 42, 83. So, ano ang ating expected value? For one, that is home. 139 times 166 over 291. Ang sagot ko.
79.39 po.
79.39.
29. 29.
How about yung ito? Yung away. Away na 1. 152 times 166 over 291.
86.71 po.
86.
6.71.
Yung loss, that is 139 times 125 over 291.
59.71.
59.71. Yung last, 152 times 125 over 291.
65.29. 29 po. 65.29.
So, yan yung kanyang expected value. Malaki pa rin yung laki pala no. So, yan yung kanyang table. So, kung mapapansin niyo sa table, nag-round off lang siya sa first decimal places, sa 79.3. So, ito na lang gamitin natin. 79.3 minus, 97 minus 79.3 is
17.7.
or i-recta na lang natin para mabilis. Dito na tayo. Pakirekta na lang. 97 minus 79.3 squared over 79.3.
3.951 ay 3.9507.
3.9507. How about yung pangalawa? 42 minus 59.7 squared over 59.7.
5.2477.
How about yung pangatlo? 69 minus
3.6135.
3.6135. And then last,
4.7977.
4 point. Point
7977.
Anong total?
$17.6096 po.
17.09.
6096.
6. So anong ating anong ating pagbabasihan ng table? Ilan ang ating degrees of freedom? Cos minus 1, C minus 1, that is 2 minus 1, yung away tsaka home, and then 2 minus 1 uli para sa loss and 1. So ang ating degrees of freedom is 1. So 0.05 na 1. Anong sa table yon? Sa table, that is 3.84. 3.841. So anong natin? Reject or accept? Ano? 17.6096 is greater than 3.841. Ano yan?
Reject po.
Reject the null hypothesis. Ano ba yung null hypothesis? Na winning is independent of where the game is played. So, ibig sabihin, ano ibig sabihin nun? Na may kinalaman nga yung lugar kasi is dependent. So, lumalabas na winning is dependent of where the game is played. Kasi nga, ito nga mga sinasabi niya na familiarity with the crowd, enthusiasm of the crowd, familiarity with the field, and the lack of fatigue from travel are all factors kung bakit nananalo or natatalo ang isang team. Okay? Ito, last na talagang slide to. Yung procedure for test of homogeneity and test of independence. So parehas lang naman sila ng process halos. Gagamitan mo lang din ng ganito, yung observation sa expected value, yung OIX, OXJ over OXX. So yung makukuha mo sagot, i-undergo mo ng chi-square, and then once you get the chi-square, you get the table chi-square. Yung chi-square sa table, and then compare. If it is greater than or equal to the table chi-square, then you reject the null hypothesis. Question? Question. Okay. Now, alam niyo naman yung mga nangyayari sa school. Updated naman kayo. So, ano lang, ano lang natin, i-clarify lang natin once and for all, wala na tayong midterm, meron na lang tayong final examination. Final examination covers all the topic from the start to finish. And then, nakadalawang quiz na tayo, so I won't be giving you a quiz na kasi nasa memo yon na up to 2 quiz lang ang pwedeng ibigay. Pero yung mga activities is pwede pa rin. Like yung sa CAD natin ng mga plates is pwede pa rin siyang gamitin. Pwede pa rin gawin, wag lang yung mga quizzes. So ang iintayin niyo na lang na na major exam is the final examination at the end of the SEM. So next week will be our last topic, which is the normal distribution. And after that, we will just wait for the schedule of the final examination. Question? Question?
Sir, excuse po.
Mm-hmm.
Ano po, ang pagkakaalam po namin, isa pa lang po yung quiz po na nabigay niyo po. Parang last week. Last week po, nagsabi po kayo na magbibigay po kayo pero hindi po kayo nakapagbigay po ng quiz.
Kasi dapat supposed to be, ano yun eh, midterm. Teka, check ko lang. Kasi yung quiz number 1, yung parang assignment number 1 natin na yung nagpasa kayo ng Excel. So consider na siya. Consider na siya as quiz number 1.
Okay po, sir. Thank you po.
Okay, any more question? Pag wala, paki-on uli ng camera. We have 14 students. Then, on na lang po. We will see you on. One, two, three. So, okay, thank you. And then see you on 2 p.m.
Sir, excuse po.
Okay. Sige.
Sir, ano po yung Excel po ba yung sinabi niya pa? Parang wala din po kami napasa po ng Excel. Ang napasa lang po namin, isang sheet work po. Yung binigay niyo po nung unang meeting po. Tapos isang quiz po. Yun po yun.
Yan. Yun nga. Kasi considered na siya as quiz sa category ng memo kasi ano siya, graded at the same time problem. So problem format na pina-convert ko lang sa inyo. Kaya considered na siya as quiz. Kasi bawal na kasi yung kasi sa guidelines So considered na siya as quiz yung unang-unang binigay ko sa inyo. So, till 2 lang.
Okay po, sir. Salamat po.
Any more question? Kaya ang advantage naman nito sa inyo, parang explain ko lang. Advantage naman sa inyo, wala masyadong commitment. Kaya lang, ang disadvantage naman, if ever na bagsak kayo dun sa 2 quiz na yon, halimbawa, is ang laki ng hatak niya kasi dadalawa lang yung pinagkukunan. Tsaka same with the major exam. Since walang midterm, walang panghatak ng grade sa finals. So kung bagsak ka ng finals, bagsak ka ng finals. Pero walang bagsak, so baka INC. Okay? No more question?
Wala na po.
Bye-bye. See you. See you 2 p.m.
Thank you po.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.